Hey everyone, today we're diving into Zenless Zone Zero, the latest action-packed gacha game from MiHoYo, the same geniuses behind Genshin Impact and Honkai Impact Third. Set in a post-apocalyptic world, you step into the shoes of a proxy, guiding teams through dangerous exclusion zones crawling with terrifying monsters. The game mixes visual novel-style storytelling with tons of animation, comic strips, and interactive dialogue, making the experience feel super immersive. The action RPG combat and exploration keep things exciting, especially as you battle your way through grid-based maps filled with mystery and danger. Now, let's talk characters. In Zenless Zone Zero, the characters are anything but ordinary. Each one has their own unique skills, backstory, and personality that make them stand out. Whether you're forming your dream team or just figuring out which characters to roll for, you'll quickly find that every character brings something special to the table. It's not just about the combat. It's about connecting with these characters and experiencing their journeys in this chaotic, monster-infested world. So, if you love a good story, epic fights, and some seriously cool characters, Zenless Zone Zero is definitely a game you want to check out. I'm quickly moving on to the video, and I'm ranking characters in Zenless Zone Zero. Before we start, if you enjoy these types of tier list videos, don't forget to like the video and subscribe. Enjoy watching.
My friends, only 0.1% of viewers subscribe. If you like this type of content, please do not forget to subscribe to the channel. Thank you in advance for your support.
The characters in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Billy. Alright, let's talk about Billy from Zenless Zone Zero. This guy's your classic free attack unit and he can deal some pretty solid damage from a distance. Sounds good, right? Well, here's the catch. Billy's strongest move, the crouching shot, is a bit of a double-edged sword. While it can dish out some nice damage, it locks him in place, making him a sitting duck for any enemies that can get too close. Plus, he can only focus on one target at a time, which is a bit limiting when you've got multiple threats on the battlefield. Now, if you can work around his weaknesses, Billy can be a decent addition to your team. But let's be real, he's not exactly the most versatile character out there. His lack of mobility and single target focus can really hold him back, especially in hectic battles. So, while Billy can shine in the right circumstances, he's definitely a risky pick if you're up against a swarm of enemies. Just remember, timing and positioning are everything with him. The characters in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Ben and Corrin. Let's dive into the world of Zenless Zone Zero and talk about two characters that fall under the B tier category, Ben and Corrin. Now, don't get it twisted, just because they're in B tier doesn't mean they're bad. They've got their unique strengths that can really shine in the right team composition. First up, we have Ben. He's a defense unit, and while his attack speed isn't exactly lighting up the scoreboard, he's all about keeping your team alive. Ben's EX special attack gives him the ability to provide shields, which is fantastic for surviving those tough boss fights. If you pair him with someone like Khalida, you've got yourself a solid defense setup that'll help you weather the storm. He's a bit slow, sure, but he's a shield tank that can handle some serious heat when you need him most. On the flip side, we've got Corrin. She's an attack unit, and she's all about that single target damage. Her specialty is dealing massive amounts of damage to enemies that are stunned, which makes her a fantastic choice for bosses or tough enemies who can't move around too much. The only downside? No AoE. So, if you're hoping for her to clear crowds, you might want to look elsewhere. But don't let that fool you. Against harder bosses, her multi-hit single target attacks make her a real DPS powerhouse. So, to wrap it up, Ben might not be the fastest or the flashiest, but he can keep your team safe with his shields. Meanwhile, Corrin's raw damage potential against stunned enemies can make her a nightmare for bosses. Both are solid picks in their own way. Just remember they need a bit of help from their teammates to truly shine. The characters in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Nekomata, Ambi, Piper, and Anton. Alright, let's dive into the world of Zenless Zone Zero and talk about some A tier characters that are absolutely worth having on your team. You're going to want these units in your squad for sure, so let's break down why they're so great. No more intro fluff, let's get into it. First up, we've got Nekomata, and if you're into AoE, area of effect damage, she's basically your dream come true. Nekomata's got this amazing combo of speed and mobility, which makes her a total nightmare for weaker enemies. She's great at wiping out multiple targets quickly with her fast attacks. Oh, and let's not forget her dodge counter and ultimate, which really take her abilities to the next level. Nekomata just shines when you're facing off against a swarm of enemies. Next on the list is Ambi. Now, Ambi is all about stunning and dazed damage. The cool thing about her is that she can dish out a ton of dazed damage with her special attack. But here's the catch. To really maximize it, you need to land Ambi's basic attack 3 times first. It sounds a little tricky, but once you get the hang of it, you'll be dealing some serious daze damage. Plus, she's free, which is always a bonus, right? Let's talk about Piper now, and she's a bit of a unique one. Piper is an anomaly unit, which already sets her apart. What makes her special is her ability to boost her own anomaly build-up using her X special attack and ultimate. So if you're into building up power stacks for that extra damage boost, Piper is your go-to. But yeah, you'll need to put in a bit of work to get those stacks going, and it might feel a little slow at times. Still, once she gets going, the payoff is huge. Anton is another solid pick, especially if you like dealing lots of hits in a short burst. Anton is an A-rank attack unit, which means he's got some serious firepower. His basic attacks can hit multiple times during burst mode, which is awesome for shredding through enemies. Plus, if you've got enemies that are affected by shock, Anton really starts to shine, delivering even more damage. So yeah, he's definitely a powerhouse when the conditions are right. Moving on, let's take a closer look at the type of units you want in certain scenarios. If you're up against a crowd of smaller enemies, Nekomata's the perfect choice. Her AoE attacks can clear out waves of enemies so fast you won't even have time to blink. But if you're tackling tougher enemies that need some crowd control, Ambi's stun and daze effects can really turn the tide of battle in your favor. Piper's build-up mechanic is more for those who enjoy a bit of strategy and patience. The stacking mechanic isn't the fastest, but if you've got time to work it, Piper can deliver a huge amount of damage once those stacks are ready. It's not just about raw power, it's about waiting for that perfect moment to unleash it all. Finally, Anton is great for those moments when you need quick, bursty damage. Whether you're taking on bosses or trying to clear waves fast, Anton's multiple hits in burst mode give you that explosive damage to finish things off. And if you're facing enemies that are already shocked, Anton will just make short work of them. So, there you have it. Whether you're looking for AoE damage, crowd control, or powerful burst attacks, these A-tier characters are absolute must-haves in Zenless Zone Zero. Each of them brings something unique to the table, and they're definitely worth investing in if you want to elevate your gameplay. The characters in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Ellen, Lycaon, Grace, Soldier 11, Khalida, Nicole, Lucy, Seth, Rena, and Sukaku. Alright folks, buckle up because today we're diving into the absolute cream of the crop in Zenless Zone Zero. You know the characters that can totally change the game for you? Yep, we're talking S-tier units. These guys aren't just good, they're game changers. So grab your snacks, get comfy, and let's break down why these characters are so incredible. First up, we have Ellen, and let me tell you, she is a powerhouse. She's an attack unit with crazy mobility and some of the best normal attack damage you can get. Her ultimate? Oh, it's a beast. It doesn't matter what kind of enemy you're up against, she's ready to bring the pain. If you want a unit that can zip around the map and deal heavy damage, Ellen's got your back. Then there's Lycaon, and he's all about stunning and dazing the competition. This guy can dish out a ridiculous amount of daze damage with his basic attacks. The best part? He works wonders on any team as a stun unit. But if you've got an ice team, this guy really shines, especially with his ability to shred Ice RS. Stun and ice, a match made in tactical heaven. Next, we've got Grace. Now, if you're into anomaly units, you're gonna love Grace. She specializes in dealing damage through shock, and here's the kicker. Enemies hit with shock take damage even when Grace isn't active. This makes her perfect for teaming up with high damage attack units to really stack up those numbers. Shock damage while you're chilling in the back? Yes, please. Soldier Evan is a solid fire attack unit, and I mean solid. She's so easy to use and can dish out major damage, especially against stunned enemies. But here's the fun part. Her X special attack or chain attack activates fire suppression, which boosts her basic and dash attack DMG. More damage? Always a good time, right? Khalida, folks, is another stun unit that knows how to play the game. She can pump out crazy daze damage, and she even boosts the party's chain attack damage on stunned enemies. Her synergy with Ben makes her even more powerful, so if you've got both of them on your team, you're in for a treat. Let's talk about Nicole next. Now, she's a free support unit, but don't let that fool you. She packs a punch. Her EX special attack can gather enemies into one spot, and her enhanced basic and dash attacks can reduce enemy DEF. She's especially useful against smaller enemies, but she can struggle a little with the bigger ones. Still, she's a solid pick for controlling the battlefield. Lucy is up next, and if you love support characters, she's a must-have. Lucy's guard balls are a real game changer, dealing off-field damage and even providing 80k buffs to your party once they explode. If you want to keep your enemies at bay while boosting your own damage, Lucy is definitely someone you want in your squad. Now, let's talk about Seth. He's a defense unit who really excels at supporting anomaly teams. He can provide shields to your squad, and those shields come with an anomaly proficiency buff. If you're running an anomaly-based team, Seth is like the glue holding everything together. He makes sure your team stays safe while still being a beast in combat. Rena is another awesome support unit, and she brings a really cool buff to the table. She increases your team's pen ratio. This stat lets you ignore enemy DEF, which is pretty clutch in tough fights. While she's especially powerful in shock-centric teams, her buffs are versatile enough to fit into almost any squad. If you want to make your team even more dangerous, Rena is a fantastic pick. Last but definitely not least, we've got Saokaku. She's a versatile support unit that can really boost your team's damage potential with her 80k buff. But what makes her stand out even more is her synergy with ice-centric teams. Not only does she buff Ice DMG, but her freezing capability is off the charts. If you want to freeze and smash your enemies, Sukaku is the one to bring. And that's the breakdown of these incredible S-tier units in Zenless Zone Zero. Whether you're looking for powerful attack units, game-changing support, or stun specialists, these characters have got you covered. So, get them in your team and let the victories roll in. The characters in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Miyabi, Caesar, Yanagi, Bernice, Ju Yuan, Jane, Chingy, Lighter, and Harumasa. Alright folks, let's talk about the absolute cream of the crop in Zenless Zone Zero. I'm talking about the S+ tier characters, those who'll make your squad feel like an unstoppable force. These units aren't just strong, they're the kind of characters that can make you feel like a total powerhouse when you bring them into battle. Trust me, if you're not using these heroes, you're missing out. Let's kick things off with Miyabi. This anomaly unit is a beast. Not only does she pack a punch with her Frostburn and Shimotsuki basic attack, but when you add the Hailstorm Shrine W engine, her damage potential is just off the charts. She can freeze enemies in their tracks while dealing insane damage, making her a perfect choice if you want to lock down your foes while causing some serious chaos. Next up, we have Caesar, and she's basically your go-to tank for everything. She brings a strong shield to the party, which is perfect for keeping your squad alive in the heat of battle. But that's not all. Caesar's impact is off the charts, allowing her to stun enemies like it's no big deal. Plus, her shield gives an 80k buff, which makes her not only a great defensive pick, but also an amazing support for ramping up your damage output. Seriously, Caesar's versatility is unmatched. Now, let's talk about Yanagi, the anomaly unit who's got a knack for boosting your entire squad's potential. Disordered DMG is her thing, and she increases the damage output for all your squad members who deal it. If you're running with a team of different anomaly units, Yanagi becomes a total game changer, helping you bring the pain no matter what element you're playing with. Then we have Bernice, and oh boy, she's all about that burning damage. Her ability to inflict burn on enemies and dish out off-field DMG with afterburn makes her an absolute nightmare for any foe unlucky enough to cross her path. She's great at dealing damage over time and making sure that enemies feel the heat long after the initial hit. Let's not forget about Ju Yuan, the range powerhouse. With her enhanced shot shells, Ju Yuan can dish out massive range damage with every shot. But what makes her truly shine is the fact that her attacks hit even harder when the enemy is stunned. So, if you're running a stun unit alongside her, you'll be dealing some serious damage. Talk about a match made in heaven. Another anomaly unit making waves is Jane. She's got incredible mobility and a whole lot of firepower thanks to her assault attribute anomaly. If you're running a team that's focused on assault or a squad with another anomaly unit from a different element, Jane is perfect for triggering disorder and ramping up your damage potential. She's a fast-moving, high-damage machine, and she's ready to wreak havoc. Now, let's give a shout out to Chingy. This is one stun unit you do not want to miss. She's not only great at daze through her basic attacks, but also increases the stun multiplier with her subjugation skill. Chingy is super versatile, so whether you're on a team with an attack unit or not, she's an amazing addition that can help you control the battlefield and keep the enemy locked down. If you're building a team around fire and ice damage, you need Lighter. This stun character is perfect for inflicting daze and providing fire and ice DMG buffs to your squad. She works best on fire and ice teams, so if you're running that setup, Lighter will be a perfect fit. She's not just a stun specialist, but she also helps amplify your team's elemental damage. Finally, there's Harumasa, a super mobile attack unit who can deal insane amounts of damage at pretty much any range. She excels at taking down enemies that are stunned or affected by attribute anomalies. So if you've got someone on your team that can lock down enemies, Harumasa will shine. Her versatility and high damage potential make her a fantastic pick for anyone looking to pack a punch. So there you have it. These S+ tier characters are the real deal. Whether you're looking for someone to lock down enemies, dish out tons of damage, or provide some solid support, these units have got your back. If you're lucky enough to have them in your roster, make sure you're using them to their full potential. After all, with these heroes, you're not just playing the game, you're dominating it. The video ends here. See you in another video. Don't forget to subscribe.